meron lang mga statements issued by those states na nag-withdraw like Burundi, Mali, Niger, and ano pa ba yung nag-submit? Hungary. Talagang dinideclare ng kanilang own government na ginagamit ang ICC as an imperial tool. Yung Philippine situation, it's unique in the sense that hindi yung government natin, di syempre, nung time ni Duterte, yun yung sinabi niya, imperial tool ang ICC. But in this situation sa Philippines ngayon, unique in the sense na ang government mismo ang gumagamit ng ICC as a political tool and ang nagrereklamo yung marginalized or opposition group.
Tutukan ang SMNI Nightline News with MJ and Admar.
Balik tayo sa ating programang SMNI Nightline News at sa mga sandaling ito ay makakasama natin si Dr. Melissa Loha, Public International Law ng University of Hong Kong. Doc, magandang gabi. Si Admar at si MJ po yung makakasama.
Good evening, Doc.
Good evening po.
Opo, Doc, recently po, mayroon pong isang non-government organization na nakataya po sa United Nations na nag-submit po ng kanila pong hiling sa ICC para po kay former President Rodrigo Duterte. Ito pong International Career Support Association. Sinasabi po nila o kine-question po nila yung continuous detention ng ICC kay FPRD at iginit po na politically motivated daw yung kaso. Ano pong masasabi nyo dito, ma'am, na meron pong UN NGO na may ganito pong statement para po sa dating presidente ng Pilipinas?
Well, ang communications, what we know as yung sinasabi na individual communications that are submitted to the Human Rights Committee, pinag-aaralan din naman talaga ng HRC yun. Hindi yun siya na token na submission. So, kung may substance, magkakaroon sila ng report, magkakaroon sila ng action. And I'm not sure kung ang kanilang citation is only sa Philippines. So, kung Philippine setting lang, ang possible na mangyayari is magpapadala ng rapporteur or para bang inquiry yung HRC if they find na weighty yung individual communication na sinabit. Meaning, meron ba talagang nakadetalye na instances na ginamit ang ICC warrant as a political weapon para ma-alter yung configuration ng political forces sa Philippines rather than for a legitimate purpose of prosecuting crimes against humanity. So, it all depends on kung ano yung evidence or concrete documentation na sinabit nila.
Opo, para kasi sa grupo, ma'am, itong ginagawa ay politically motivated, kaugnay sa 2028 elections, at sinabi pa nila na ito rong si President BBM, ginagawa ito targeting the Duterte family to tarnish the reputation of the former president at may kaugnayan daw po ito sa kasalukuyang estado ng kanyang anak na VP. Politika raw po ito lahat. Kaya itong patunayan, ma'am? Ano kayong masasabi niyo po dito sa kanilang pong pahayag?
Hindi naman unusual na magpadala ng ganyang klaseng communication, but with respect to ICC, hindi ako naka-recall na nagkaroon ng ganyang communication. Sa other instances, meron lang mga statements issued by those states na nag-withdraw like Burundi, Mali, Niger, and ano pa ba yung nag-submit? Hungary. Talagang dinideclare ng kanilang own government na ginagamit ang ICC as an imperial tool. Yung Philippine situation, it's unique in the sense that hindi yung government natin, di syempre, nung time ni Duterte, yun yung sinabi niya, imperial tool ang ICC. But in this situation sa Philippines ngayon, unique in the sense na ang government mismo ang gumagamit ng ICC as a political tool, and ang nagrereklamo yung marginalized or opposition group. So, this would be an interesting interplay sa HRC because for one thing, hindi sila pwedeng mag-interfere sa politics, sa national politics ng kahit anong bansa. So, that would be a testing ground for the HRC then.
Opo, unique nga ito ma'am no na senaryo o case study itong paksa ni former President Rodrigo Duterte at para magkakaroon po ma'am ng remake sa kaso po ni Senator Bato de la Rosa. Dahil sinabi po ng kanya pong legal team na in all forms, in all aspect, mukhang magkakaroon daw ng Duterte 2.0 dito po sa kaso ng incumbent senator. Ano pong masasabi niyo doon ma'am?
Well, yung PRO na deny and therefore hindi ako makaka-comment unless I see the resolution on the TRO. As to the substance, pending pa siya. And one possible reason na na-deny yung TRO kasi baka ang ilalabasan nila ay decision mismo which would be good for everyone para wala ng constitutional crisis. Kasi kung hindi talaga nila ma-resolve, and by resolution, I mean not just to resolve the issue raised by Duterte and Senator Bato, but also to issue guidelines para sa future instances na magkakaroon na naman ng ICC warrant, guided ang law enforcement, guided din yung Congress, guided yung lower courts. Kung walang ganong guidelines ay lalabas, medyo mahihirapan talaga. Magkakaroon ng perennial crisis kasi based on the ruling ng appeals chamber, mukhang magkakaroon siya ng perpetual jurisdiction in the sense na any case stemming from the investigation na initiate nung period na interim period from the time of withdrawal to the 1-year period na mag-wrap up sila, mukhang lahat ng cases stemming from that investigation mag-assert sila ng jurisdiction in the sense na jurisdiction over the subject matter. So unless ma-resolve ng Supreme Court yung issue ng applicability ng Article 59 ng Rome Statute, may hirapan tayo every year kung halimbawa meron na naman ipapa-arrest ang ICC and willing ang government na ipa-arrest yun as long as nasa opposition.
Opo, pero ma'am, ang argumento kasi ng panig ng Senator De La Rosa, sila po yung nababahala na magamit itong ICC. Binanggit niyo po nga na pag-opposition ay hindi na po dadaan sa ating korte, ipadadala na lamang po sa abroad. Sila po ay nababahala na baka raw ito'y magamit no, sa ordinaryo ng mga Pilipino na nagamit nga sa senador at dating presidente, ito ngayon ang kanilang ikinababahala. Ma-weaponize daw po ito, Doc.
Yung naka-name kasi na core perpetrators doon sa substantive aspect ng appeals chamber na decision, may nakasulat na doon. Tapos may redacted names. So we don't know kung sino yon, pero for sure, nandun yung pangalan ni Bongo, who is also in the opposition. And some generals. So hindi ko rin kilala yung mga generals yung kung retired or active. So kung magkakaroon ng ICC warrant nga, magre-recur ang issue kung walang guidelines. So let me just, I think, para lang makatulong sa pagkaliwanag ng ano talaga ang lay of the land as far as the law is concerned. So if okay lang sa inyo, let me just give a very brief parang outline kung ano yung okay lang po ba?
Sige lang po, Doc. No problem po.
Okay. So, I will divide the periods into 3. The period when may effect pa yung Rome Statute. The period when wala na siyang effect, which is now. And the period when, and this is something that's always missed out by commentators and by the media, and also I think by the counsels of Senator Bato, the period when the CIDG filed a subpoena against Senator Bato. So, 3 periods. During the period na may effect na po yung Rome Statute, ano ang rule when an ICC warrant is issued and needs to be executed in the Philippines. Definitely, kung ano man yung rule na yun pa rin yung rule during the period after na nag-take effect yung withdrawal and nag-exercise pa rin ng jurisdiction ang ICC. So it's important for us to know what that rule is. Ordinarily, pag ang isang estado ay naging member ng ICC, nagpapalabas siya ng isang domestic law. So, hindi nila transpose yung Rome Statute ay na-apply sa sarili nilang territory. No. Gumagawa muna sila ng domestic law, ina-adopt nila yung criminalization of certain acts. At the same time, nililay down nila ang procedure when an arrest warrant is issued by the ICC and needs to be executed in their territory. So, for instance, Japan, meron siyang rule, and that rule is very remarkable and unique compared to all the rest in the sense na yung isang tao na arrested on the basis of an ICC warrant, dadalhin sa Tokyo High Court, and that Tokyo High Court does not just limit its determination kung anong identity mo, ano ang rights mo ba ay na-respect when you were arrested, meron ka bang counsel, gusto mo ba ng interim release. In addition to those questions, yung court mismo titingin sa evidence. So mind-blowing yun na particular domestic system ng Japan. With all the rest, hindi ganon. Hindi sila nagtatouch sa evidence. For instance, Germany, or Canada, or UK, etc. Titingnan lang nila. Of course, for sure, lahat na yon dadalhin yung tao sa isang korte, sa isang judicial authority. Tapos titingnan, ikaw ba itong taong to, etc., etc. Meron ka na bang previous na prosecution and judgment based on the same facts, etc. Kasi ito yung double jeopardy na pwede mong ma-raise. Or meron ka bang pending investigation na pwede mong ma-raise as a complementarity rule. So, yun yung period na member pa ng ICC ang isang estado. Sa Philippines, gumawa tayo ng law 2009, hindi pa tayo nag-ratify, hindi pa nag-concur ang Senate. Although, pumirma na tayo sa Rome Statute. So, instinctively, sasabihin mo, this law should not apply kasi nauna siya sa ratification. But yet, if you look at the deliberations in Congress, the law was designed to address a situation when the Philippines already becomes a member of the ICC. Kasi at that time, talagang malakas yung lobby for the Philippine membership to the ICC. So nag-prepare na tayo. How did we prepare our legal system for our eventual membership? First, we criminalized the same acts, the same omissions acts that are criminalized under the Rome Statute. Ito yung sinasabing universalization of the concept of universality of the criminalization of crimes against humanity, etc. What does universality mean? Ito lang po yung sinasabi na kung sabihin natin si Netanyahu nakakommit ng genocide, hindi sa Palestine, let us say, nakakommit siya ng genocide sa Canada. Pumunta siya ng Pilipinas. Kahit wala siyang pinatay na Pilipino, tayo may jurisdiction over Netanyahu kasi nag-commit siya ng genocide. Yun lang ang ibig sabihin nun, ng universalization. It is a question of whether jurisdiction exists. So, ibang sa batas, iba ang question ng existence of jurisdiction, iba naman ang question ng exercise of jurisdiction. I-explain ko lang mamaya po ha. So, during the time na nag-sign tayo, tsaka in effect yung Rome Statute sa Philippines, yung rule na ina-apply natin, ang pwede natin i-apply in case merong ICC warrant na na-issue would be RA 9851. Okay? But then, yung RA 9851, suppletory yung rules of court. Why? Kasi sa Section 18, andun yung nakaslagay na exclusive and original jurisdiction ng RTC. At syempre, yung RTC will always be governed by the rules of court. And overarching dun, yung Bill of Rights natin. Kasi talaga namang lahat, kahit saan naman, pervasive ang Bill of Rights natin, kahit hindi i-mention dun sa batas na yon. So, during that period, yun na yung pwede mong i-apply. Ngayon, of course, pagdating na naman sa period na hindi na wala ng effect yung Rome Statute sa atin, when there is an ICC warrant that needs to be enforced, and the only magiging basis ng NBI or PNP, etc., to enforce it, let us say, sabihin nila Rome Statute pa rin, pero yung kanilang authority will be governed by certain laws and rules, and that would be the Bill of Rights, RA 9851, and in particular Section 18. Okay? So hindi mo pwedeng sabihin merong vacuum. Meron po talagang nag-govern na rules. Now nandito na tayo sa point na naka-withdraw na tayo sa Rome Statute. What does it mean? Ito yung naka-complicate sa situation natin. So, before, remember tayo, mabilis lang. Okay, warrant of... Remember at that time, di ba, mayroong Mama Sapano massacre.
Opo.
And Miriam Santiago suggested that the government, some people in the government, be held accountable for the massacre, for crimes against humanity, under the Rome Statute. Imagine that. Kung nangyari yun, so nagkaroon na tayo kaagad ng test case. Pero hindi nangyari. Wala tayong nakuhang, walang naging ICC warrant. So, nandito na tayo sa situation na lumabas na tayo sa Rome Statute. Under treaty law, ito yung pinaka-importante na principle under international law on treaties. Kung ang Estado ay lumabas sa isang treaty system, yung kanyang territory hindi na magiging governed by that treaty system. Lalabas na siya. For instance, let us say may treaty tayo na pwede akong pumunta sa state mo, kumuha ako ng bananas, ibebenta ko bibilin ko yung bananas, etc. Pupunta lang yung ship ko sa port mo, etc. Tapos pinuto natin yung treaty na yun, hindi ko na pwedeng pasukin yung territory mo. Hindi na ko pwedeng mag-harvest ng bananas mo. Kasi naputol na yung treaty natin eh. So the same in the situation where yung Philippines nag-withdraw, which is why yung pangalan na withdraw from the Rome Statute, from the ICC. Ang implication nun is, ang ICC, hindi na siya talaga, yung Rome Statute itself, hindi pwedeng i-impose na sa territory ng Philippines. Now, I will distinguish that sa acts or crimes committed and persons. So, territory muna tayo. Ang isang very clear example kung how yung Rome Statute ay nawala yung territory natin sa scope ng Rome Statute o sa application ng Rome Statute ay, number one, yung prosecutors na pupunta dito, hindi na sila pwedeng diplomatic passports. Yung prosecutors o investigators na pupunta dito, hindi pwedeng magkaroon ng diplomatic immunity. Ordinary na lang sila. That's the very most concrete example na wala nang effect ng Rome Statute sa ating territory. Okay? So, for instance, ang investigator pumunta dito tapos nag-commit siya ng bribery based halimbawa doon sa testimony ng mga soldiers na mayroong nakatanggap na pwede silang kasuhan, wala silang immunity. Pwede yung Blue Ribbon Committee magkaroon ng investigation, pwede mag-recommend ng charges against those investigators, etc. Kasi wala na silang immunity. In fact, bribery and corruption is never covered by any principle of diplomatic immunity, but that's beside the point. So, when it comes to the arrest warrant, wala siyang automatic force sa territory ng Philippines. Okay? Which is why, kung mag-i-issue man ng warrant ang ICC against an individual in the Philippines, yung individual na yon pwede lang ma-arrest kung pupunta siya sa state na member ng ICC. For instance, in the ASEAN system, the only state which is a member of the ICC is Cambodia. All the rest, hindi member. Punta siya ng Singapore, hindi enforceable yung warrant ng ICC. Punta siya ng Indonesia, the same. And unless, of course, magko-consent yung Singapore or Indonesia, etc. So, why is it then na yung appeals chamber nagsabi na may jurisdiction siya? Because yung issue sa appeals chamber was only about jurisdiction over the acts, over the crime. Hindi siya over the territory or over the person. Because merong provision sa Rome Statute na nagsasabi na kahit nag-withdraw ka, meron ka pa rin existing obligations arising from the Rome Statute na pwede naming i-enforce within a period of 1 year from withdrawal, effective withdrawal. Ngayon, according sa chamber, appeals chamber, it was sufficient for the continuing or perpetual jurisdiction of the ICC. It was sufficient that an examination, a preliminary examination was initiated. Di ba nagsabi lang ng ang prosecutor, mag-announce lang siya na I have the intention to conduct a preliminary examination. Yun na yun. Na-trigger na yung period, yung jurisdiction ng ICC over certain crimes committed. And I disagree with that particular reasoning of the ICC, but what can I do? I'm just an individual, and the chamber already ruled na meron na siyang jurisdiction. So separate yung issue ng jurisdiction over the subject matter sa jurisdiction to issue a warrant and enforce it in Philippine territory. So kahit may jurisdiction pa man siya sa crimes allegedly committed by Senator Bato, when it comes to enforcement of the warrant, hindi pwedeng masasabi mo siya na governed siya dun sa stage 1, yung diniscuss natin earlier na member pa tayo sa Rome Statute. This time around, kasi hindi na nga tayo member, meron siyang way na ma-enforce ang warrant, and that was done with respect to President Duterte through the Interpol and the PCTC. Okay? Now, even though hindi na enforceable yung Rome Statute sa territory ng Philippines, dahil ginawa ni ICC na dumaan sa Interpol and inaccept ng Philippine government na activate yung Article 59. And what does Article 59 say? It says na first, sige, arrest ka, pero dalhin mo sa competent judicial authority. And why is it so important? Because under 59 itself, merong right to interim release. And that is a right of the accused that the state, that the Philippine government cannot waive for the accused. And what happened to Duterte was, winave na ng government yung right ni Duterte to interim release by just simply shipping him off to The Hague and not presenting him to a judicial authority. So yun yung error. Hindi niya sinunod yung Article 59. And why should they follow Article 59? Because they are trying to enforce a warrant of arrest issued under the Rome Statute. And when they do that, they have to enforce all the provisions relating to the arrest of that person, including, more importantly, the right of the accused to seek interim release. And during sa domestic process na yon, under Article 59, papasok yung RA 9851 ulit. Kasi ito na, nag-give na yun ng consent ang government, di ba? Pero in giving consent, hindi naman niya pwedeng sabihin, walang rules applicable kasi wala na kami sa Rome Statute. At the same time, wini-waive namin yung right ng accused to interim release. Hindi ibig sabihin na talagang tabula rasa, bahala na anong mangyari. Ito na lang gagawin namin. No. Dahil nga nag-consent ang government na i-enforce yung warrant of arrest against President Duterte, dapat sinunod niya yung 59. Kasi doon siya nagdodraw, halimbawa ang NBI, doon siya magdodraw ng authority to execute the warrant. Hindi siya pwedeng mag-cherry pick kung ano lang na provisions ng Rome Statute. At the same time, since nakalagay doon sa 59 itself na dumaan ka sa judicial authority, 9851 ang ma-activate. Now, ano yung mga sinasabi ng NBI, ng deans, law deans, certain justices na hindi na dadaan sa judicial authority kasi daw yung 9851 merong automatic surrender provision under 17. So apparently, magkakaroon tayo ng conflict sa 59 tsaka 17. At the same time, 9851 may 18 which is about the original and exclusive jurisdiction of the regional trial court. So itong tatlong provisions apparently nagkakabanggaan. But when the rule of thumb, when it comes to interpretation ng provisions of law is ititry mo i-harmonize, in particular kung merong international legal instrument. So ititry mo harmonize. And the best way to harmonize it is to look at the intention of Congress when they drafted 17. Nagpadala ako sa staff ninyo po
Opo.
ng original version ng 17. Mapapakita niyo po ba yun? Madi-display niyo po ba yun?
Opo, in a while, Doc, sige lang po, while you're discussing, i-display po namin, Doc.
Right. Okay. Ano yung nakalagay sa original version? And why is this important? Yung original version ng 17, paragraph 2, first sentence is nakalagay. However, let me just explain what 17 is about. It is about, again, the universality of jurisdiction. So, I already explained that, diba?
Opo.
So, nakalagay sa second paragraph. Ito yung second paragraph na nire-rely ng NBI, etc. But I'm now looking at the original. Sabi doon ng original. However, in any of the latter cases, suspects or victims who are not nationals or residents of the state, meaning Philippines, or pose no direct threat to the Philippines' own particular security interests, etc., the relevant Philippine national authorities may dispense with prosecution and investigation and surrender them to an international court if existing, or to another state which is already prosecuting or has started prosecution. And in every instance, there has to be a condition that the crime committed has a direct link to the foreign state. Ano po ibig sabihin ng provision na to? It means na kahit may universal jurisdiction tayo sa crime, let us say, an example ulit, si Netanyahu, nag-commit siya ng crime sa Canada, nagbakasyon siya sa Boracay, hinuli natin. Pero sa Canada, meron na nag-start na prosecution, meron na din sa ICC against Netanyahu. Under this law, under this provision, pwede natin siyang isurrender kasi wala naman siyang direct threat sa atin. Hindi naman Filipino yung pinatay niya. Okay, hindi naman siya Filipino. And he committed the crime in a foreign territory. That's the intention. Ito yung tina-target ng provision na yon. Na ito. Hindi yung Filipino na nakatira sa Philippines, nahuli sa Philippines, nag-commit ng crime sa Philippines, hindi ito covered sa provision na masusurrender siya kaagad sa International Tribunal. So kasi yung kay Senator Bato, ito yung ginagamit na provision, 9851 na provision kasi nakalagay, diba? Second paragraph. In the interest of justice, the relevant Philippine authorities may dispense with the investigation or prosecution of a crime, etc., etc., and surrender him to an international tribunal or to a foreign court pursuant to an extradition or other treaty. Diba? Yan yung nire-rely upon ng NBI and others have been commenting on this subject. Pero under the original version nakalagay, obvious sa framing ng precondition, Filipinos hindi pwedeng isurrender, especially if ang crime committed dito sa Philippines nangyari and may direct link sa security ng Philippines. So kung foreigner, fine. Pwede natin ibalik sa state niya or pwede natin isurrender sa isang international tribunal. So why is this original version important? Kasi during the deliberations ng batas, inuulit tinanong ng authors, ang sponsors. For instance, Senator Joker asked the question, paano to? Parang may conflict ang 18 tsaka 17. Sa 18, sabi nyo, original exclusive jurisdiction ng RTC. Bakit dito pwede isurrender sa foreign court? Ang sagot ni Senator Gordon was, itong provision na to will apply only if foreigner ang nahuli and hindi naman siya nag-commit ng genocide etc. sa Philippines at saka yung victims naman niya ay hindi Filipinos. Yun yung pagka-defend ni Senator Gordon sa provision ng 17. Inulit po ito ni Biazon because at that time, 2003 pa lang, meron na tayong treaty with the US. Yung treaty natin with the US was that kung may Amerikano na military or civilian who is in the Philippines and yung tao na yan has a case halimbawa sa ICC or in another country for international humanitarian law violation and may warrant of arrest, ang Philippines has the obligation not to surrender that individual, but rather to surrender him to the US. And so si Senator Biazon was worried kasi at that time meron na tayong balikatan exercises. And syempre maraming US military servicemen and baka may pending cases sila sa one of those international criminal tribunals, Yugoslavia, etc., even ICC, which is very possible. So, sabi ni Senator Biazon, paano to? Isusurrender natin or i-prosecute sa RTC? So, yun yung kanyang dalawang tanong. Prosecute sa RTC or isusurrender natin sa International Tribunal? Ang sagot ulit ni Senator Gordon is that hindi. Andito sa provision na to, isusurrender siya sa state niya na pwedeng magkaroon ng jurisdiction sa kanya kung meron ba siyang crime na commit. And that was because of a 2003 non-surrender treaty with the US.
Opo.
So kung i-interpret natin ang 17, 18, and 59, ma-reconcile siya by first looking at 59 and the intention behind it.
Opo.
Ito kasi, yung 59 is a corollary to the principle of complementarity under 17 ng Rome Statute. Kasi sa 17, di ba, may complementarity, meaning yung ICC will only take jurisdiction kung talagang walang pag-asa na mag-take jurisdiction ang local court.
Opo.
In our case, ilang beses na natin sinabi na meron tayong kakayanan. In fact, RA 9851 created special courts, special RTC courts to handle these cases and directed the training of judges and personnel and even prosecutors and the Commission on Human Rights purposely to enable the Philippines, to enable our judicial system to handle cases like what the cases against Senator Bato.
Opo.
So there is no excuse talaga na dumiretso sa ICC.
Opo.
Now,
Doc.
okay. So, tapos na tayo sa second stage ha. Dito na tayo sa, for me, is the most important stage. And I think this is what was missed out. I'm not sure though, I'm not making judgments against the counsel of Senator. This could be what the counsels of Senator Bato missed out. Ito yung pag-initiate ng investigation under RA 9851 by the CIDJ against Senator Bato. The moment na nag-issue ng subpoena and the moment na na-receive ni Senator Bato ay nagsabi siya, I will respond, nag-trigger, nag-set in na yung principle of complementarity to the point that the councils can already ask the ICC na stop nyo na yung warrant kasi nag-assume na ng jurisdiction ang Philippine authorities. And then, pwede din niya sabihin if hindi man nila magawa yun, pwede niya yun i-raise as a non-admissibility defense. Kung nagkaroon na siya, nahuli na siya, dalhin siya doon, non-admissibility defense bracket. Under the complementarity rule, nakalagay lang doon na mag-step in ang ICC kung walang local court na able and willing to genuinely undertake an investigation and prosecution. And obviously, the investigation and eventual prosecution against Senator Bato would be genuine kasi si Senator Bato is in the opposition to the government, and it is the government undertaking the investigation and prosecution of Senator Bato. And therefore, yan pinaka-importante na rule on complementarity, and pwede na niyang ma-bar ang ICC from even exercising jurisdiction over the acts mismo of Senator Bato, not just over the person. Kasi yung acts na mismo ang ini-investigate ng CIDG and eventually by the courts. And this is something that would interest the Supreme Court because, of course, the Supreme Court instinctively will defend the local jurisdiction against a foreign jurisdiction. And in this case, nag-assume na ng jurisdiction ang Philippine authorities.
Opo, Doc, maliwanag po na hindi po dapat i-shortcut at meron po tayong jurisdiction dito sa kaso ni Senator Bato de la Rosa. Granting, ma'am.
Sana nga po na mag-participate siya para hindi bumaliktad na naman, yung complementarity hindi pwede kasi hindi siya nag-participate. He has to participate. Of course, hindi naman kailangan in person. Pwede naman through his counsel kasi gano'n naman talaga tayo sa investigation stage. So as to whether his flight should be taken against him, I think that is too naive a proposition kasi first of all, the warrant issued against him will be executed in a way that would bring him outside the jurisdiction of Philippine courts.
Opo.
And the uncertainty justifies his recourse to an escape and to go into hiding. Kasi kung ang warrant lang naman would call for him to go to an RTC, I don't suppose that he has a problem with the idea of going to the RTC. But in this case, yung warrant and the action of the NBI is to bring him outside the Philippine jurisdiction, to completely strip him of his rights as a citizen and alienate him from his political base.
Yes po, Doc.
Yes po.
Opo, mabilisan lang po kasi kulang na po tayo sa oras, Doc, kasi nagre-resurface itong mga videos ni late Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago. Pagpapaliwanag niya tungkol dito sa ICC bilang court of last resort, bilang yung sa principle of complementarity. Tapos, meron tayo mga naririnig na mismo lang galing sa executive branch, no, particular sa Department of Justice, noong secretary pa itong si Boying Rimulya bago naging ombudsman. Nabanggit niya itong merong failure sa justice system during lang naman dito sa kaso na involve ang dating presidente. Okay na po ba yun na mismo siya lang ang nagsabi na may failure sa justice system? Wala po bang role ang mga korte, lalo na ang Korte Suprema at ang ICC ay makikinig din mismo at galing lang sa DOJ yung sinasabing may failure of justice system kaya hindi namin matry ito dito sa Pilipinas kaya sa inyo na. Sapat na ba ito na dahilan po, Doc, mula lang sa or kailangan may part, lalo na ang Supreme Court bilang siya po yung kumbaga humahawak sa mga korte sa ating bansa?
First, yung si Miriam, yung 17, question yun ni Miriam, sinabi niya, this is in violation of the rule of complementarity, kaya nag-pass siya ng resolution 3031 or 3061, tapos inulit pa niya sa next Congress. Kaso lang namatay po siya. Pero doon pa lang sinasabi niya na dapat i-reconcile natin yung Section 17 sa rule on complementarity under the ICC, under the Rome Statute. Second, yung evidence na hindi willing or unable to genuinely undertake investigation or prosecution is negated by the fact that ang CIDG, under the present government, filed a case, initiated an investigation to the point of a possible prosecution under RA 9851 for EJK. So yun mismo, kino-contradict yung position ni Secretary Remulla. Kasi obviously, mayroong kaso na pala. Mayroon naman palang mag-file, mayroon naman palang investigation na.
Opo.
So dapat hindi i-preempt yun. Dapat ipapatuloy yun. And dun humarap si Senator Bato. Sabi naman niya, willing siyang humarap and kung i-jail siya, willing naman siya magpa-jail. Ayaw lang niya na madala siya sa dahil ang ini-insist niya na ang karapatan niya is to be jailed if ever in the Philippines, which is correct naman po dahil nga RA 9851 naman ang iiral and the jurisdiction lies with the Regional Trial Court, exclusive and original.
Opo. Ma'am, yung sa authority po ni dating Justice Secretary Remulla na sabihin na merong failure sa justice system kaya paubaya sa ICC itong kaso nila, sapat na ba yon para paniwalaan na agad at wala nang role yung Korte Suprema?
Well, kasi alam naman yan yun, di ba? Kasi part siya ng government. So, sasabihin niya yun because he needs to be able to justify the surrender of Duterte. But it's also the task din naman ng counsel to disprove him by pointing out evidence na natutuloy naman yung mga cases. For instance, meron tayong permanent representatives sa United Nations na nag-declare that our courts are functioning in terms of protecting rights or pursuing cases under for violations of international humanitarian law. Permanent representative yun nagsalita siya sa UN. And tapos meron pa tayo ngayon na ongoing live case na CIDG, which should be the focus of all these discussions kung meron ng rule on complementarity kasi na-bar na yung jurisdiction ng ICC dahil nga nag-start na tayo ng investigation.
Opo. Doon naman po sa part ng ICC na sasabihin lang na sinurrender ng gobyerno ng Pilipinas. Wala na kaming pake kung dumaan ba ito sa proseso ninyo dyan. Okay lang ba yan, Doc?
Wala po silang choice kasi meron silang binasihan na record and yung tao na nag-take custody kay President Duterte, nag-check lang po siguro doon. So wala silang, hindi naman sila pwedeng mag-investigate. Hindi naman sila pwedeng magpadala dito ng tao. It's now the Supreme Court's rule kung magsasabi siya na nagkaroon ng violation sa right ni President Duterte, then that particular decision can be brought up all the way to the ICC to explain na hindi kayo nagkaroon ng jurisdiction over the person. Mali po yung arrest kay President Duterte or pwede namang sabihin he was denied of the right to ask for interim release and at that point pwede na siya magkaroon ng interim release. So as to whether ma-reverse pa yung nangyari, yung decision ng chamber na meron siyang jurisdiction over the substance, over the crime, hindi pwede mangyari yan kasi hindi nga ICJ, wala namang Supreme Court na mag-overrule sa appeals chamber. Ang magiging question lang ngayon is kung nagkaroon siya ng jurisdiction over the person.
Opo. Huli na lang po, ma'am. Hanggang saan, hanggang sino po, alimbawa, yun nga, yung nabanggit nyo po, kung magdidesisyon ang Korte Suprema na may mali doon sa proseso, pagdala dito kay dating Pangulong Duterte, itong issue din kay Senador Ronald Bato de la Rosa, meron bang mapapanagot, pwede bang mapanagot yung mga involved na mga individual? Kasi hanggang presidente ang sinasabing involved dito sa pag-surrender kay dating Pangulong Duterte.
Opo, pwede naman po mag-file si President Duterte ng civil suit for damages doon sa mga individuals na nagkamali. Now, kung meron talaga silang blatant violation, well, mahirap i-prove yun na talagang blatantly or out of ignorance lang nila ginawa. But in either way, pwede naman talagang mag-file ng civil suit for damages.
Opo. Doc, maraming
For
salamat.
wrongful arrest.
Opo, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras at panahon sa ulitin po. Ingat po kayo.
Thank you, ma'am.
Kayo din, salamat.
Si Dr.
Bye.
Melissa Loha, isang international law expert ng University of Hong Kong, mga kapartners. Ating pong napag-usapan ang issue nga po dito kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte sa ICC at maging itong si Senador Ronald Bato de la Rosa.